Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at a figure that is from a company I've actually only ever reviewed one time before, because I only have one other figure from this company, and this would be Bullyland. I previously reviewed the Bullyland Stegosaurus, and if you remember that review, I was really honestly quite blown away by how nice their Stegosaurus looked, and there was always this image that I would see from time to time floating around of the Bullyland Allosaurus, and me being a huge fan of Allosaurus, I really quite liked the image and I thought that it looked pretty darn nice. I wasn't sure if I should ever pull the trigger on it and buy one, but it is actually discontinued, and I didn't know that it was at the time. I honestly don't pay too much attention to the Bullyland line, because some of their figures I think look a little goofy, but other figures look really nice, kind of like the Stegosaurus. So I did eventually find one for a pretty decent price. I actually won this one on eBay a few days ago. A lot of the prices that I can find on eBay are just absolutely ridiculous for this, and all the websites that I would normally potentially order these from, like the Jenkins.com or Amazon.com, are either sold out or really ridiculously high prices, so I was pretty happy to obtain this one for I think like $15 or something like that. And another thing that really kind of drew me to this Allosaurus is I feel like it really looks a lot like Big Al from the Walking with Dinosaurs series, and I am a gigantic fan of the Walking with Dinosaurs series, so again, that was a shoo-in for this figure, something that really made me want to buy it. Like I said, I finally got a hold of one the other day, but let's get a closer look so we can see if it was really worth purchasing. Now, taking a look here at the head sculpt, the teeth are kind of a jumbled mess. They honestly are really sloppily done in there, but one thing that I do appreciate is the fact that the teeth are more of a yellowish color and not so much a very bright white. So I definitely do like that. I think that's closer to a realistic coloration. You can see the head sculpt overall is not bad. There's a little chip of paint here actually on one of the crests above the eye, but the head sculpt is really not bad. It's very reminiscent, honestly, of the Allosaurus from Walking with Dinosaurs, Big Al. I really think that is definitely a pretty good representation to it. It's not perfect, but it's not bad either. And there is honestly some really nice paint applied. You can see that there is like a darker area around the nostril, bringing your attention to the nostril, and even around the eye there's a little bit darker of an area, and you can see a few different tones of greens throughout the head that help to make this look fairly realistic and much more alive than it would if it was just one solid color. The eye is painted pretty nicely, and there's a nice gloss. You can really see it shining right there. It's got like a blue background and then a very large black pupil. This side doesn't look bad either. It also looks pretty good as far as the paint goes. But honestly, it's not like there's not as much sculpt as you would get on like a Papo or a PNSO, Collect A, Safari, anything like that. But it's not bad. Again, from a step back, it looks pretty darn nice. I would think if I were to display it, I would display it from this side. It looks a lot more appealing than this side due to the teeth. But either way, it does still look pretty good. As we start to run down the neck, you can see some very nice osteoderms and some nice scaling. You can see a few little creases and some skin folds and stuff here. A little line here. Crease in the skin that runs the length of the neck that you would get would be the norm for most dinosaur figures. Some beautiful osteoderms down here. One thing I really like that Bullyland does do, they did it with the Stegosaurus and they've done it here with the Allosaurus, is that they do a beautiful dry brushing with a very light color, but it's in just kind of isolated areas, and it really kind of makes the detail pop out a lot more than it would if they didn't do that, and I really like that. I think when they do that, it gives it such a more realistic type of a look, so that is definitely a very big plus on the part of this Bullyland figure. You see coming down here into the shoulder, you can see the shoulder blade protruding a little bit from the skin, fairly nicely elaborated. The hand is a little sloppily painted, but nothing terrible. You can see the claws are fairly nicely painted. They do look pretty good. There's no real muscle tone or anything, but the arms do look good regardless. You can again see some creases in the skin here in the stomach, and there's some sculpt on the bottom. Looks pretty good. It's not overly detailed, but it's not bad. One thing actually taking note here that's fairly strange is if you look on the underneath of the neck here, there appears to be a significant amount of detail, but then you cross over and it's fairly smooth on this side. Not sure why that is. You see the hip bone slightly protruding from the skin here on the upper side of the thigh, and coming down again, you don't really see any actual muscle tone, I mean, a little bit you can pick up on it, but it's not as visible as you would see on most more modern, up-to-date models. Feet look very nice. Again, there's some paint chipped here on the claws, but that's just because this is a used, and again, it's a discontinued figure, so you're going to have a hard time finding one that is perfect. You see the dew claw back here on the back. Kind of looks like there were holes on the feet for pegs. I don't know if that's something that wasn't a deal with this figure, something that came with it. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that a little more. And again, you can see some very nice sculpting of the skin detail and all sorts of beautiful scales running the length of the tail. Very nice crease of skin that kind of runs the entire length of the tail as well, out to a nice curve here at the end. Again, looking at this side, it looks pretty good. There's just some things that I kind of feel like are really outdated as far as the sculpt goes that you would expect, like with this leg being stretched back, you would kind of expect to see the skin being pulled a little bit, and you don't really see the body itself moving with the figure. You don't see the motion of the dinosaur being shown in the sculpt. But again, this is, I think, an older figure. I don't know how old exactly, but it does still look really quite cool. I honestly like it quite a bit. There's a little bit of that green paint that kind of appears to be sloppily applied on the hand. On this side as well. Once again, you don't really see too much as far as the muscle tone, but you can see the shoulder protruding a little bit there. The paint applied does look really, really nice, and it's very naturally applied with an airbrush. You can kind of see some creases in the skin right here, show the body reacting a little bit to the movement of the leg. Once again, you can kind of make out a little muscle tone there. In the thigh, not so much here in the calf, a little bit. Foot looks good on this side as well. Once again, the nails are chipped as far as the paint goes, but it is older and used. And then again, that tail looks pretty nice. It's got that beautiful dry brushing that's been done here and there, and you run out the length of the tail. You can also see some nice striping that runs the length of the back, but there are also kind of some like green spots throughout the body here that have like a dark black ring around it, giving it some nice flashiness to it. And again, that red crest up here, really the green and red and the entire sculpt in general, as I said before, really remind me of Big Al from Walking with Dinosaurs, which was really my true appeal of this figure, and I really think it's pretty darn nice. It's not great, but it's definitely not bad at all. I will say that one downside to the figure is it just does not balance very well. There we go, I got it to balance now, but odds are it's probably going to fall over here in a minute as it just kind of slowly starts to fall. It keeps doing it to me, and I have to keep stopping and picking him back up because he just continues to get off level and off balance and fall on his face. So the actual balancing of the figure is really bad, and I don't know if I could fix it with maybe the hot water, cold water trick. There's probably a pretty good chance I'll have to give that a shot at some point. As far as a size goes on this Bullyland Allosaurus, from the tail to the head, you're looking at about 11.5 inches or about 29 centimeters. And for a height, the highest point honestly would probably be the tail. Maybe the head. We'll go with the head. So you're looking at about 4 inches or about 10 centimeters. And he's trying to fall over again. For a size comparison, well, when you need somebody to lean on, you can always count on our Green Papo Rex buddy here. Again, giving you a pretty good idea of the size of the Allosaurus. It's fairly small compared to the Papo Rex, but it's pretty long. It really has some decent length to it. But once again, giving you a pretty good idea of the size. You can see that the actual detailing isn't near as good as what you would see on a Papo model. But again, it's nothing that I would say is bad. It's just not as detailed as it could be, but I still really quite like it. So this Bullyland Allosaurus is decent. I would say it's a decent figure. It's not great, it's not overly detailed, something that I can say is highly detailed. It's nicely detailed, I'd put it that way. It's definitely, again, an appealing looking figure, and due to it looking very similar to Big Al from Walking with Dinosaurs, it kind of holds a nice little soft spot in my heart, as I am a huge fan, as I said before, of Walking with Dinosaurs, so that right away does give it some positive points for me, but the fact that the paint on the teeth is really sloppy is a little bit of a letdown, and again, the fact that the detail isn't that great, you can't really see the body itself reacting to the movement of the dinosaur or anything, and also the problem when it comes to a balancing and really being very off level are a few downsides of the figure, but the paint itself does look really quite nice, and it's very naturally and beautifully done, the way the paint is applied. I would like to see a more updated newer version of an Allosaurus from Bullyland, because their Stegosaurus honestly was a beauty of a figure. I don't know if this one was released before or after the Stegosaurus, but I am quite interested to look into that and see. But this Allosaurus honestly is pretty good. I would say it's a pretty good figure, and definitely something that if you are a fan of walking with dinosaurs, wouldn't be that bad of an idea to search out. But if you aren't and you're just looking for a good Allosaurus figure, I would say you might want to look elsewhere. It's again not bad, but it's not anything that I would rant and rave about. I am happy with my purchase, and I did have fun trying to seek one out. And again, with the distinction of it looking like Walking with Dinosaurs Big Al, I really do quite like it for that reasoning. But as just being a regular Allosaurus, it's again not that great. I will try to find one to link you to in the description, but because this is long discontinued, it's going to be a little tough to find one for a good price. So I'll find the cheapest one I can, but once again, it's probably not going to be cheap enough. If you keep checking out eBay though, you may run across one that is up in an auction setting that you could get for a decent price like I did here. Either way, pretty cool figure, not great, not bad, but good enough. So if you do want one, happy hunting looking for it, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.